Welcome back to SimGeeks Podcast. We are your hosts, William Belk and David Schablock. We're here today with Curtis Kitchem, Director of Marketing for the Society of Simulation, and he's going to chat with us about Healthcare SimWeek, why it's important, and why we should all be paying attention to it. So, Curtis, why don't you give us quickly your background, tell us who you are, where you came from, and then jump into how you became involved with the Society and what Healthcare SimWeek is to you and why we need to be focused on it.
Sure. First, thanks, guys, for the opportunity to talk all things SSH and Healthcare SimWeek. Really appreciate that. It's been a quick 4.5 years for me, a little over 4 years since I joined the Society on staff. Something I never saw myself doing. I actually came from a different association as their Director of Communications and moved over with Kevin Helm. If you all remember Kevin, I worked with him in Kansas City locally on some other boards and had some other things going on there. And one thing led to another, short story, that opened this opportunity. And so I left the National Auctioneers Association, actually. So I went from guys and girls making money and selling things left and right, and that whole world for healthcare simulation. And so I had about a week on the job before I attended my first IMSH in San Antonio in 2019. It was a world rocker, going from an exhibit hall full of accounting software and how to do online auctions and all of those things, right? Teaching people how to take good photos of the products they're trying to sell online or in person. A lot of that stuff went right out the window when I walked in the first time and I see a birthing simulator, right? Just, well, I don't know that I was not ready, but I also wasn't ready.
You say that, and right now there's an SP birthing simulator on demo right over here, and there is a C-section taking place right next to us over here.
So here's how I know that I'm better for my job now. I don't flinch when I see it. When you first walk in and you see these things on a big screen, and you stop and stare, you're like, what did I do? Why am I here?
I will say, I've been in this long enough that it doesn't usually faze me, but on the show floor, if I turn a corner, it's like, there's a set of breasts.
Yes.
And sometimes it'll still get me.
Just something, right? Yeah. And to the point, like I said, the point now where it doesn't faze me as much, I guess, or I don't notice it as much. I guess I'm in the right spot at this point. Just quickly, just so everyone, I guess, knows my full background, I haven't always been in marketing, haven't always been in comms, haven't always been in association management. I actually have a media background. My first job out of school was for a racing organization as a PR manager.
What kind of racing?
You're right. So it was the Sports Car Club of America, all amateur, but they had a pro series as well. I actually was the PR manager for the, at the time, the U.S. Pro Rally, if you guys know what rally racing is.
Oh, yeah.
So I suddenly was a early 20s kid traveling the country and doing backroads rally and doing the PR for that, and I had no experience with that either. So my whole career's just been, well, that looks cool. Let's go market that. Let's go comms that. So I left that for sports media in Kansas City for several years, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, covering a local university, Kansas State University there. And then I left that and got back into the business side of magazine publishing for a little while, doing broadcast engineering stuff, all the TV truck stuff you see, all the equipment that's in there. We had a magazine that focused on that for the guys all the engineers who know how to make that stuff work. So
Pro Sound News.
Yes. So I left that and then got into the NAA and then moved over here. So I've been in associations now for about 10 years total and almost split the time between the two.
So it sounds like you got into this industry a lot, like a lot of people did. We did a lot of weird things and then found ourselves in the coolest job that nobody ever knew existed.
That's it, in a nutshell.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's a lot of, hey, do we have, and then it was a lot of blank stares back, because I found out very quickly that just because I think it's long term. One, the association had only been around, the society's only been around since 2004.
Yeah.
And so they had only been here for 15 years, and my position was the first time that it had been done in-house with the society. So I've been part of their growth plan to be an in-house, almost in-home, in-house staff member dedicated fully to that, as opposed to having someone on contract or a PR company or something. Yeah. It's great, right? So there's a lot of flexibility. There's a lot of depth to. I'll use this term because I don't have a better one, but I like to laugh at it. I get to fail up a lot. I get to try things a lot, which actually in essence is what we do here, right? Everybody tries things.
Acceptable fail.
That's it, right? And as long as you learn from it and use it, use the experience well, I think everyone's okay with that. So.
Well, I mean, and this press box is an example of that, right? We got 4 different podcasts all taking place right here. We've got Lance with Healthy Sim. You set up a lot of this, and it was hey, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. And so far, it looks like it's been very successful.
Yeah. Thanks for noticing that. This whole thing started as a cocktail napkin idea several years ago, I guess now, 2 or 3 years ago. I was working with Lance Bailey down at SimOps. Where were we? In Tampa, maybe, 2 years ago. And we went out to dinner one night. I was trying to think of a way that we could, leverage their relationship with us a little bit more, with SSH in general. And so we got to talking about, like what I wanted to accomplish from a content standpoint. In today's market, is it the best idea for a small association to, even though I know we're large in the grand scheme, we're not that large, right? So I'm looking, big picture. Is it okay? Should we keep begging the traditional media outlets to try to cover us when they have the time, if they have the people, because media have their own issues with staffing and things. And I thought, you know what? We've got tech. We've got some things in the industry that we can create and not have to depend on others to create for us. So we threw a table together in a small booth last year at IMSH, turned the lights on, turned the camera on, and the content was fine. It accomplished several boxes from my side and from Lance's side, and we thought, you know what, let's see what happens if we one-up it. And so that led to me saying, okay, what other kinds of content can we create? Or what do we have? And so that, through some internal dialogue with the staff, it kept coming back to podcast. We knew that people do their video and things, but there's a lot of regulation and red tape around that, especially in our industry, for good reason. But that makes it challenging, right? For having readily available things that they're willing to share outside of their channel. So, okay, well, we know the podcasters are out there. And I heard random stories about who was out there. And I thought, okay, can we put those on a list? And then once we put them on a list, can we maybe have them help coordinate our content a little bit? And can we be smart about who we're running through? For example, at IMSH, can I make sure I'm checking all my marketing boxes from SSH's side? And it all came together, right? It looks like we're in day 2 at this point with us here. It looks like all the lights came on, all the mics are on, everybody's showing up to their appointments. Where I'm always concerned, as a comms guy. But I think the excitement is there, and they can see the vision now about, wow, that's what our content can look like. And personal win for me this year, things we can improve. Last year, I had to fumble my way through setting up some video stuff, post-production. I just didn't know exactly what I wanted, so that slowed it down. Took me a couple weeks, because we always take a week off after, the staff takes a week off after IMSH. For
As you should.
Good reason, yeah. Yeah, we've been grinding since October, right? Literally since October, but we start planning a year in advance. So we need a week, but by the time I got all that done, it had been several weeks. So the content was still good, which is great. That means it's evergreen, it can live. But we need to turn it around a little faster. So this year, that was one of my goals, and I can proudly say that some of the video we did yesterday is already published and out. And so we went from weeks to hours in the second year. So pretty happy about that, and just stoked about everyone else's buy-in on this idea, because I thought it had potential. You never know how other people are going to see it, but now that we've been here, we've had exhibitors interested, we've had attendees interested, other media have been interested. So it's a win. I think it's got good long-term value for SSH and IMSH.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we've seen a lot of traffic of people just coming to see what's going on over here, right? So we've had a lot of people think, just like all the vendor tables, people just come and hang out and see what's going on, stand and watch, which has to be the most boring thing to watch ever, because they can't hear what we're saying right now.
Yeah, but you guys are familiar with how there is a magic to watching media happen, right? And you don't know why, and you can't quite explain it, but if they see a camera, they see a microphone, they see a speaker, they just stop. And you always watch something, even if you don't know what you're watching.
And you've said they, but it's all of us. We all do
100%.
this. It's everybody. It's what's going on. I want to know. So
yeah, that was me projecting, because I said they and it meant me.
Exactly.
So let's talk Healthcare SimWeek. You've kind of been tasked with some of that. I know that's what you were coming on to chat with us about.
Yes.
So most of us are probably aware, but just give us the rundown. What is it? Why is it important? How can we get involved with it?
Yeah, so it is one of our currently largest living, breathing monsters that we love. And by that I mean this started as it started before I got here, several years before I got here, but from my understanding, the history was it started as another kind of a cocktail napkin idea, conversation happening one night, that, hey, we should have a central way to celebrate us being the industry, and that's always a good thing, right? So that grew into the SSH Media Communications Committee taking on that role. just basically coordinating some things, setting some dates, which instantly helps frame, during the year, people can plan. But it's always been about a celebration. And in the last couple of years, I think people have, I know, our data likes to show me, and I'm a big data guy. I like to be able to lean on data.
Data's king.
Yes, and one of our most important things, I'll go into a rabbit hole story here in a second. One of the most important things that we like to show at the end is our map. We have a Google map that we just say, hey, are you out there and are you celebrating, and put your pin on the map, show your center. That thing has set records the last couple of years, and they went from 100 or 200 when they first started it to we're over 500-ish centers around the world now. And I will say, most of it's domestic. That's okay. That actually reflects most of our membership at SSH. I get it. We're global. We're not just equal parts global. I think most people understand that.
But the goal is we're trying to grow. But
yeah, we've got I'm doing this number off the top of my head. I should know it better.
You're good.
We were above 35 countries, I think, represented, or 40 countries represented. Just, even if it's a single pen, to me, when we're just, the idea of the week is to grow the footprint, I'll take 35 countries, period, even if it's just one, because chances are they probably weren't on there a year or two ago. And so there are two things. Actually, one more thing. Our video contest that we do, we've done several years. I'll say we struggle. That's just me being a little harsh on ourselves. But we struggle with, how we're going to roll that thing out year to year. We're trying to get the right tone, right feel with it. But the biggest thing is 2 years ago, counting last year and then 2 years ago, we had 9 or 10 entries. And granted, we were in the middle of the pandemic, so it took a dip from the year prior. But we were down at about 9 or 10 entries, and they were great, but just not very many. Get that. And we had probably 500 votes that we asked the general public to help vote on. This past year, we had over almost 70 entries, so we went almost sevenfold, and we had over 5,500 votes, so we went almost tenfold there too. And so you're suddenly talking thousands of people, and the idea being that no matter where they're coming from in the general public, that might be the only time all year they hear about Healthcare Sim, but the point is they're watching a bunch of videos that were submitted and getting to vote and be a part of something that's in the Healthcare Sim community. So it's a really big part of the celebration for us, is just to get people to see it and know it. And that leads to my final point about Healthcare SimWeek is it's always been the goal. Me personally, I need to do a good job or continue to do a good job of making sure that centers know that while SSH does provide things like a toolkit and some logos and some of the look feel, that stuff's important and it looks great for us from a coordination standpoint, but really I'm going to issue a warning. Don't lean on us for that, for your celebration. That week is important. The dates are important. But at that point, make the celebration your own. Because you may be in, I just referenced 40 countries. Your culture may be different. The way you celebrate things may be different. We don't want you just to kind of shoehorn what we're doing or offering over here if it doesn't fit for your center. The important part is you're just celebrating Healthcare Sim. So even for the domestic folks out there, same thing, use us as you need, but don't rely on it 100% if you don't need to. And the important part is just to celebrate as you can and as you will, and we'll be there to help support it.
And I think what you mean by that mainly is don't let us dictate how you celebrate it.
Thank you.
Just celebrate Healthcare SimWeek.
Yeah.
So, we're not giving you the rules of you should be doing this. It's do whatever promotes and that it celebrates what we do all year round, and tell as many people that don't understand it, because we all know that, hey, what do you do for a living? So let's talk, because it's a hard description.
Yes.
So the week has that international buy-in, and it's, do it how you can do it.
Yeah. I'm going to be careful. You're going to take my job. You said it better than I could in far fewer words. No, it is, right? So the toolkit itself is... you'll see that. It doesn't have a lot of step-by-step. Even though we've gotten a lot of requests for it, I have fought internally for us not to go that direction. We're not telling you, download this instruction sheet to build your celebration. Because we do tell us what to do. How do we do this? And I get it. I do understand why they're asking for that. But, again, one celebration is not going to fit all. And so it's more about, I'll give you tips for approaching the media. How think of ideas on a gathering, or even all the way down to, I know it's weird, the cakes that we see every year. Even those things, we'll supply the ideas, but how you apply those, or whether you apply those, do what you need.
that's the thing. We take pride in our job. We
Yes.
are passionate. I mean, we all get into this job and we're like, I don't know what this weird little job is. And then once you find out, you're like, it's the coolest job nobody ever knew existed. And so this is the year this is the time of year where we're going to all get together and celebrate it together around the globe.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. And so that's where it becomes important for my side then. On the campaign side, that's where the hashtags become important, because then no matter how everybody is celebrating, I at least can see that all in one place, and that's the stuff that we pull together and then can, pitch, right? Pitch to our media sources and things and say, look, we have a central place where you can see how big it is becoming, how those things are growing. So that's why we stress the hashtag almost more than anything else during the week. That's cool. Do what you need, but just make sure you document and then post it with the hashtag, and we'll love you for it.
That's great. That's a good point.
All right. Well, Curtis, we really appreciate it. We've got a busy schedule here. You're headed to another table to go talk to some other folks about a similar topic. But thanks very much for coming out with us, for setting up all of this over the last few months. We really do appreciate that, and hopefully we'll have a chance to talk to you again soon.
Yeah, it sounds great. Again, really quick, just thank you guys so much for buying in when we approached you with it, because I know it probably came across as a weird idea, and you're like, well, why would they be asking us to do something like this? But I'm glad you took advantage of it. Glad you're here, and here's to a great week.
I will say for myself, and I think Will's going to say, I think as soon as you mention it, we were all about it.
Yep. When we talked at SimOps last year, we were ready.
Yeah, we were diving in and we went deep. So we appreciate it. We know it's a lot of work, and we hope to help you grow it year after year after year and make it something that will really benefit the entire community. And that's all we care about with us, is how well it can help the community.
No, that's great. Well, again, thank you for this year, and I look forward to working with you going forward.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you for having us. We're on the show floor at IMSH in Orlando, Florida in 2023, and thank you for your time.
You bet. Thank you.